This is the Richard Mille RM88. It costs more than a Ferrari, more than a seat on a flight to space, more than a private island in the Caribbean, more than $1 million penthouse in Manhattan, and more than a private jet. All combined, and still, the RM88 is more expensive. It's got no gold, no diamonds, not even a full dial, just a floating skull, a skeletonized tourbillon, and a case made from materials that look like they were pulled from a sci-fi lab. This isn't a watch, it's a statement, worn by billionaires, athletes, and the titans of the industry. Not because it tells time better than a Casio, but it screams one thing: I've made it, and I don't need to prove it to anyone. So how does a brand that didn't exist 25 years ago, which has no heritage, no 200 years of legacy like Patek Philippe, no iconic design like the Royal Oak, and not even the Quiet River class of Vacheron Constantin, the goat of watchmaking, end up charging more than a rocket, a jet, and an island combined, and still have elite fighting to buy it? In the world of luxury watches, heritage is law. Patek Philippe, founded in 1839, nearly 2 centuries of history, craftsmanship, and prestige. Their watches are like heirlooms, passed down through generations. And Audemars Piguet, the Royal Oak, a bold revolution in the 1970s that saved the brand and changed the watch design forever. Vacheron Constantin, a quiet king of old-school luxury since 1755, masters of traditions and refinement. And there's the Richard Mille. No centuries of history, no family legacy, no workshop passed down through generations, just a brand that appeared out of nowhere in 2001 with no pedigree, no horological roots. And here's where the story gets interesting. There's a rumor, a conspiracy theory really, that has been whispered ever since. They say the very first Richard Mille ad had a huge misprint. The RM001, his debut watch, was supposed to be advertised at $13,500, but instead the price was printed to $135,000, a tenfold mistake. The marketing team was horrified. Who on earth would pay that? It seemed like a disaster. But then something unexpected happened. The phone started to ring off the hook. People wanted it. They wanted it bad. They were ready to pay that outrageous price. Richard Mille suddenly found himself with a demand that he had never expected. People were willing to pay 10 times the price he intended. The brand denies this ever happened, but maybe it's just a lesson. Maybe it's just a story that grew over time. But it perfectly captures the spirit of Richard Mille. From day one, this brand was about breaking the rules and defying expectations. Because the truth isn't in the misprinted tag. The truth is in the vision behind the brand. Richard Mille was a salesman, an entrepreneur who looked at luxury watches and asked one question: why do they have to be so heavy, fragile, traditional? Why couldn't a watch be as innovative as a Formula One car, as advanced as aerospace technology, as bold as uncompromising extreme sports? So in 2001, he launched his own brand, one that rejected old school watchmaking obsession with delicate finishes and conservative design. A brand built on radical innovation, cutting edge materials, and engineering marvels. That was the real beginning of Richard Mille. Not a misprint, not a mistake, a revolution. Richard Mille wasn't born into watchmaking royalty. No family workshops, no century-old legacy. He was a businessman, a salesman, and a man with a vision. By the 1990s, something had already changed in sports. Watches were disappearing from athletes' wrists, sports science took over, and every gram mattered. Every distraction was eliminated. Mechanical watches too heavy, too fragile, too risky. They belonged in the vaults, not on the courts. Tennis legends like John McEnroe used to wear sleek watches more for style than function. But by 2000s, wristwatches were practically banned in the professional sports. No one dared to risk it. Still, Richard Mille was gaining a following, not from heritage or tradition, but from a sheer innovation. Bold radical designs, material burr from aerospace and Formula One, skeletonized movements that looked like science fiction, but the brand was still niche. Cool to collectors, yes, but not yet a household name. Then came the game changer. Rafael Nadal, relentless fierce, demanding perfection. No mechanical watches had ever survived the brutal pounding of a tennis match. Too fragile, too heavy, too risky. But Richard Mille saw an opportunity where others saw risk. He convinced Nadal to wear an RM watch during the match. Not a fashion statement, a feat of engineering. The RM27, weighing less than 20 grams, less than average smartphone case, designed to withstand sweat, impact, and impact of G-forces of the Grand Slam finals. It was a gamble, but Nadal wore it. He trusted it, and suddenly, Richard Mille wasn't just a watchmaker, he was a revolution. A man who brought mechanical watches back to the playing field, literally. This partnership changed everything. From then on, Richard Mille was no longer just a brand for collectors. It was the badge of champions. Richard Mille isn't just a brand, it's a playground for mad geniuses. The engineer behind the watches don't just build timepieces, they create mechanical miracles. Take the RM88 for example. This watch is the perfect storm of engineering and artistry. At its core, the CRMD automatic tourbillon movement, designed to be ultra-light, ultra-precise and utterly bulletproof. But it's just not about packing in the complicated parts. It's about stripping away everything unnecessary. Every component is skeletonized, hollowed out of shaved weight, created to increase shock resistance. The engineers use exotic materials, carbon TPT, quartz TPT, grade 5 titanium lethal, metals that normally powers rockets and spacecrafts. Why? Because they want a watch tough as a race car but light enough to float on your wrist. The floating skull at the center isn't just for show. It's a structural piece, painstakingly designed and engineered to balance perfectly without adding the bulk. Surrounding its hands are engraved miniature sculptures, pineapples, flamingos, rainbows, art and engineered fused into one. Each detail is engineered for shock absorption, precision and durability. The RM88 isn't just a watch you wear, it's a machine that you experience. A technical masterpiece born from minds of engineers who just don't think outside the box. They obliterate it. Richard Mille is also a social weapon, a precision engineered symbol of exclusivity designed to set its owners apart from the crowd. So why do the ultra-rich obsess over it? Because humans are wired for status, but not just any status. We crave exclusive status, a kind that cannot be bought off the shelf, copied from the masses or flaunted by just anyone. Owning a Richard Mille is like holding a secret key to an elite club. It's not about showing off well to everyone, it's about sending a signal to only few who can understand. A message whispered in inner's luxury circle. In a world drowning in luxury brands, designer logos, being rich isn't enough anymore. You have to be different, rare, impossible to imitate. And Richard Mille's wild design, insane price tags, and tiny production numbers do exactly that. They manufacture artificial scarcity, turning titanium, carbon fiber, and mechanics into rare trophies. Each watch is handcrafted, impossible to mass produce, and often limited to just a few dozen of pieces worldwide. The waitlist stretch is years long, and the price, it only expands. The scarcity fuels designs like wildfire. It becomes a psychological trap, a challenge, status game, and elite love playing it. Because owning a Richard Mille just doesn't say you're wealthy, it says you have access to belong anywhere in the world. It's a badge of success and impeccable taste. Richard Mille isn't just selling watches, it's selling a story. It's selling the illusion of power, control, and distinction. It taps into something primal, the desire to stand out without shouting, be admired by the right people, and to own something truly unique. And the richest, most powerful people, they buy in every single time. See, this watch is doing something that most watch brands don't, giving the illusion of scarcity. Richard Mille produces only a handful of watches everywhere. This isn't about making millions, it's about crafting exclusivity. And when you get your hands on something, you want more of it. It's the oldest trick in the book, but Richard Mille doesn't stop there. They create layers of exclusivity. And that's why limited editions that vanish in seconds, custom commissions for billionaires who want something one of a kind, a secondary market of frenzy. Some models appreciate faster than real estate. Collected and spectacular cases, each released like holy grail, and the brand carefully curates its image. No flashy celebrity endorsement, no gimmick ads, just mystery, silence. And this is why Richard Mille became a legend on his own. Because in a game, scarcity is power and Richard Mille holds a crown.